Arne, while you're in Milan, Mo posted a picture of himself training alone. What's the situation this weekend? Will he be involved? If not, does that mean he's played his last game for Liverpool?
I will have a conversation with Mo this morning, and the outcome of that conversation determines how it will look tomorrow.
What do you need from him to resolve this situation then?
What I need is a conversation with him, and I think the next time I speak about Mo should be with him and not in here. But yeah, you can keep on trying, but there's not much more to say about it that I speak to him today. And like I said, the outcome of that conversation determines how things will look tomorrow.
Can I just ask though, is part of the issue asking him to do more defensively in the side?
You can try it in multiple ways, but I think I just said that the next time I speak about him should be with him. We've spoken a lot in the last week after the Sunderland game. I think there have been a lot of conversations between his representatives and our representatives and him, between him and me, after the Sunderland game. And today I will speak to him again.
Have you had an apology though, or do you need an apology? And that'll be the last one.
Normally I would say you've had your 3 questions. I think this is the 4th or the 5th, but same answer again.
Travis?
I'm going to throw one more in there. It's back to the game though, but you are unbeaten in 4 now as well. So I'm just wondering what platform you've given yourselves to build on now.
No, I think apart from being unbeaten, I think we've shown that we have been a team in the last 4 games that were indeed difficult to beat. That was difficult to create chances against us. Team worked really hard, put a lot of effort in. Have been again a bit unlucky in the results, but showed great resilience. 4 games in 10 days with not a lot of players available is I think a compliment to the players that were available. How they managed to get, first of all, some results, and second of all, the work rate they've put in.
Thank you.
Hello again. Over those last 4 games as well, it's pretty much coincided with Alisson's return into the team. How much of an impact has that had on everything?
It's every time a player is available again, let alone a player that is so good as he is. That's helpful, but I think Georgie did a great job as well when he wasn't there. I don't think Georgie or Alisson have had a lot to do in general in games because we hardly concede a chance in most games that we've played. Not all of them, but I think 90% of the games, I think we've hardly conceded a chance. So yeah, it's always helpful when a player of his quality is back. But I want to emphasize on the fact that Georgie did a good job as well, but it's nice to have him back. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about team news as well?
Yes, of course.
Injury-wise, how's everybody looking? Anybody coming back? Anybody not available now?
Federico is not ill anymore. He trained yesterday and he will train today again. So I assume he's ready to be in the squad tomorrow again.
And can I just check with Endo and Cody about how they're doing and what their injuries are?
Yeah, it's gonna be weeks.
What are their injuries?
With Cody, it's a muscle injury. That's Cody is a muscle injury, and Wata is an ankle injury.
Thank you.
Just one on your home form recently. Obviously, Liverpool's home form last season and in recent years has been pretty impeccable. In the last 5 in the league, it's 2 wins, 2 defeats, and a draw. Are you finding it difficult to play at home at the moment, and with the form that there's been in and 60,000 expectant fans? I just wonder what that impact is having on your home performances at the moment.
I could completely understand this question if our away form would have been outstanding, but I don't think that's the situation as well. I think we've struggled at home and away from home far too many times than we would like, and there are reasons for that, which I think I've spoken about, everybody's spoken about many times, but never enough reasons to lose so many times. So I don't see don't see the relation between home games and our results. I see it in all the other things I've said recently, why we've dropped points or lost games.
And you've talked about how teams have targeted you in certain ways and played certain tactics against you this season. I just wonder if you expect Brighton to go down a similar route, or what kind of sort of threat you expect them to pose you.
Yeah, I've said, not only I've said this is so clear and obvious every time. Sometimes I see a photo that some pundits have shown this, that it's so obvious that if you see the league, I think the league has become much more direct, but then there's the league and then there's Liverpool, how teams play against us in terms of how direct they play. That's, I think, a nicer word than a long ball. That's one thing, and I think there have been certain game plans against us that I've seen more and more as well, which I referred to in the press conference again before the Inter game. So I've said multiple times we have to adapt, and let's take the Sunderland game where we struggled to create a lot of chances, and the game after they faced a team that hit a shot far from outside the box and scored a set piece. Yeah, these are the ways to unlock a team that's either defending low and hardly gives away anything, and the other option is, of course, an individual that just outplays dominates the 1v1. That is also something. When I looked at City Real Madrid game, I saw some great examples of that. One or two individuals that were able to create a lot, and another set piece scored in that game as well.
Carl?
Hi, you started Isaac and Ekitike together in Milan, and very rarely they had a chance to do that. I just wonder what you've learned from that and how it affects your thinking going forward in terms of where they play and the formation that they play in.
I think what we all saw, which is completely normal, the more they will play together, the more they will adapt to each other, and the better they will cooperate. I think it's fair to say that the other two that were on the pitch, the two number 9s, Thuram and Lautaro Martinez, were more used to play with each other. But I saw also promising things from the both of them. It's been the second time they played together for obvious reasons, because match fitness is the obvious reason in that. And I think we will see more of this in the future, of them playing together. But Alex also got a knock in the first half. So let's see how he has recovered from that today, if he's able to start tomorrow, and if he's able, if I make the decision to start them again together, or we do it in a different way.
Hi Arne, off the back of that, and speaking about going direct as you were before, the benefit of having two 6'3" strikers like that is that you do have the ability to go direct yourself, particularly against an aggressive, high-pressing team like Brighton. I think they win the ball in the final third more than any other team. It's not something Liverpool really traditionally done, even when Gakpo was in the team, who's another 6'3" striker. I just wondered what your thinking was. Is this a kind of a philosophical thing that you don't necessarily like, or maybe just an idea you haven't quite got to yet?
I don't think height always tells you if a player is perfectly equipped for that style. Sometimes players are really tall, but they struggle to win their duels, and sometimes they are less tall, but they're really strong when you play the long ball towards them. I think both Alex and Hugo at this moment of time, you can better use them with balls in behind than long balls into their body. Where I can see especially Hugo trying to improve. So if I compare him with, for example, was it 2 months ago when we played Brentford, where he probably got the first taste of what it means to have a game where you really have to fight for your position. That wasn't a game that was played a lot over the floor. But I see him trying to do this better and better. But in that part of his game, there's still room for improvement, as there is for so many parts of our game in general.
Hi Arne, you obviously said on Tuesday you only had 13 outfield players. I think you also got a few injuries at the moment. Are you a bit concerned in terms of the squad depth going into the next few weeks, and is that maybe something you'd like to address in January?
No, I think it's helpful that in the upcoming weeks we don't play as many games as we've did till now. I think I wonder if there have been more teams that have played 3 games in 7 days this season, and I think we had to do it 3 times. Already this season. What can I say about this? I'm almost happy that we're out of the League Cup, because if we had to play with 13 outfield players available with any Premier League experience, because we have more available, of course, but not players that have Premier League experience, and we had to go Arsenal away on Tuesday again after already so many games played, that maybe I don't know, people can understand a little bit better why I made that lineup against Palace, which wasn't good for me, but I did this another decision I've made for the team, because losing a game of football is never a good idea, and that is what happened when we were not in the best run of form. But sometimes players need rest as well. So look at Dominic, look at Virgil, look at Ibu, look at Ryan. They've played so many minutes because other ones weren't available. So it's good for them that we go now to a run of games where there's 1 week rest in between. And players will come back from injuries, and when they are back from injuries, there's more to choose from as well.
Just on Mo, in terms of the decision-making process with him not going to Milan and then whether he's part of the squad tomorrow, is that solely your call, or is that above you with Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards?
If he's in the squad, yes or no?
Well, and the decision not to take him to Milan and this weekend as well.
I think we've decided as a club, and I was part of that decision, not to take him towards the Inter Milan game. And I'm always in contact with them, but when it comes to the decision making of the lineup or the squad, they always leave that open to me. But that's not to say that I don't talk to them. Mainly Richard, by the way, not Michael. To Richard, but I talked to him about so many things. But the decision to play a player or to have him in the squad, as I've experienced it till now, and I think this will never change, is entirely up to me.
Do you want Mo to stay?
Sorry?
Do you want Mo to stay here?
Like I said, another way of asking it, but the next time I talk about Mo should be with him, and I have no reasons not wanting him to stay, if that is a little bit of an answer to your question.
And do you still have a relationship with him then? As in, I know you said otherwise, but is it fair to say that there's a relationship?
They have better questions than you. No, I wouldn't say better, but they tried in multiple. It's useless of asking this question if I've said so many times the same answer.
Given the fact you're unbeaten in 4, do you feel some sort of justification for your decisions, or do you feel like the performances have just improved?
This club has won a lot of games with him, so.
Mikel Arteta has made it clear that Arsenal will need to unleash their complete player against Bayern Munich. The Gunners host the German champions at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday, and one man in particular could be decisive. Ebereki Eze, described as a very complete player by teammate Mikel Merino, is emerging as one of Arsenal's most dangerous weapons ahead of their Champions League clash with Bayern. The 27-year-old announced himself in North London with a stunning hat-trick in his first derby since arriving in a £67.5 million move from Crystal Palace. His 3 brilliant goals dismantled Tottenham, and truthfully, he could have scored even more. Merino believes every one of Arsenal's 8 summer signings has lifted the squad's level, helping the team build a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League. But Wednesday's matchup is different. Bayern Munich, the reigning Bundesliga champions, represent the toughest test yet for Arteta's side. Speaking after the win over Spurs, Merino praised Eze's qualities and hinted at the impact he could have in such a high-stakes European battle. "We've brought in a lot of players who can make a difference. But you can see that other teams have spent big as well," the Spain international said. "Individual brilliance can win matches, sure, but in the end, it's the team that matters. If you have great players who don't connect, that's a problem. The good thing about this group is that everyone thinks about the team first." When asked about ease specifically, Marino didn't hesitate. "I think he's incredibly complete. He can dribble, he can pass, and his technical quality is outstanding. In Spain, we always talk about players who can connect with others. He has that naturally. He grew up with that instinct to link play, move the ball, and build relationships on the pitch. He also has the mindset to get involved, demand the ball, and influence the game. At the same time, he's strong, he can take players on, and he can finish. He's a truly complete signing." Marino also touched on how the modern game often reduces players to simple numbers. "These days everyone judges players by goals and assists, that's just how it is. But as footballers, we see the deeper qualities he brings, the technique, the movement, the intelligence. Even in training, you can tell immediately how special he is. Yes, he's scoring goals, but he's much more than that. He's an exceptional player, and we're incredibly lucky to have him. He can play in several positions and adapt to different systems. He's been a huge addition for Arsenal." Beyond the technical qualities, Marino believes Iza's attitude, and the healthy competition within the squad, will be crucial in Arsenal's title push. You can hear the calm in Eberechi's voice and see it in the way he carries himself. He's confident, grounded, and every morning we sit together in the sauna at the training ground and talk about everything, he added with a smile. "He's a great guy, already fully integrated, and we need players like him. Competition is fierce. There's so much quality in this squad. That's exactly what the manager wanted, as many top players as possible, all ready to play. It makes his decisions tough, choosing who starts and who doesn't, but it also pushes every one of us to give our best in every session. And that's why we're improving as a team." As Arsenal prepare for Bayern's arrival, Arteta is facing one of the most delicate balancing acts of the season. The squad is healthy, competition is fierce, and expectations have never been higher. But behind the scenes, there is a growing sense that Iza's versatility and calm presence may be essential against a Bayern side known for controlling the tempo in big European nights. Arteta himself has hinted at Iza's importance without naming him directly. After the Tottenham victory, the manager spoke about the need for players who can break pressure, dictate rhythm, and stay composed when the game becomes chaotic. Those inside the club believe those comments were aimed at Iza as much as anyone. The coaching staff has been particularly impressed by how quickly he has adapted to Arsenal's positional play structure, a system that demands far more tactical discipline than what he was used to at Crystal Palace. Analysts at the club point to his growing influence not only in the final third, but also in build-up phases, where his ability to glide past pressure could help Arsenal bypass Bayern's aggressive midfield line. There is also an awareness that Bayern's fullbacks tend to push high, leaving spaces between the lines. Iza's skill set, sharp turns, deceptive acceleration, and precise final balls, could be exactly what Arteta needs to exploit those gaps. Outside the club, pundits have already started circling Wednesday's match as a defining moment for the £67.5 million signing. Some believe that if Iza can impose himself on a Champions League quarter-final against Bayern Munich, it will confirm his arrival among Europe's elite creative players. Former players have echoed that sentiment. Several ex-Arsenal figures, speaking on television over the weekend, highlighted the need for someone who can change the temperature of the match with a moment of calm or an unexpected burst of creativity. Iza, they argued, is one of the few in the squad capable of both. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich come into the match with their own confidence. Their midfield trio has been one of the most dominant in Europe this season, and they have shown a repeated ability to suffocate opponents early. That dynamic is precisely why Arteta may lean on Iza's composure. When the game tightens, Arsenal will need a player capable of slowing it down, protecting the ball, and finding solutions in tight spaces. Within Arsenal's dressing room, Marino's praise reflects a broader consensus. Senior players have reportedly been struck by Iza's humility and work ethic, qualities that have helped him integrate seamlessly into a squad that already had strong internal chemistry. Staff members describe him as someone who never forces the game, and lets the match come to him, characteristics that could prove invaluable in a high-tension Champions League tie. As kickoff approaches, the narrative surrounding the match has shifted. What began as a test of Arsenal's resilience has quietly become a spotlight on whether Iza can elevate them in Europe the same way he has in the Premier League. For Arteta, the equation is simple. If Arsenal are to overcome Bayern, they will need more than intensity. They will need control. They will need creativity. And increasingly, they will need the completeness Iza brings to every phase of the pitch. Whether he starts in a wide role as a floating midfielder, or even as an interior playmaker, the expectation is the same. Ease will have to find the spaces others cannot, and influence the game in ways that statistics alone will not capture. The stakes are high, the opponent is formidable, and the spotlight is intense. But within the walls of London Coney, the belief is growing that this is exactly the kind of stage Ebereki Ease was signed for. Martin Odegaard is nearing a return to action after suffering a medial collateral ligament injury in Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham earlier in October. Yet, 3.5 years after Mikel Arteta named him captain, the Norwegian finds himself in an unfamiliar position. His place in the starting lineup is no longer guaranteed. For the first time since joining the club permanently from Real Madrid in August 2021, there is real debate over whether he remains an automatic choice for Arteta's 11. Odegaard, now 26, has been central to Arsenal's resurgence under Arteta, the conductor who shaped the team's rhythm through some of their most fluid football. But this season, the Gunners have been forced to navigate long stretches without their captain, first due to a shoulder issue that kept him out of 4 matches in September, and then because of a knee collision with West Ham's Crescencio Somerville that sidelined him again. And during his absence, something significant happened. Ebereki Ease stepped into the spotlight. Ease's sensational hat-trick in the North London Derby has complicated the picture. Now thriving in a central role, the England international has given Arsenal a different kind of presence around the edge of the box. A blend of unpredictability, directness, and two-footed confidence that opponents struggle to contain. He may not control games with the same metronomic precision as Odegaard, but he offers a spark, a willingness to take risks at moments when Arsenal need a jolt of creativity. After such a standout performance against Tottenham, it feels almost impossible to imagine Arteta leaving Ease out. The manager has always had a soft spot for players riding a wave of confidence, and Ease is currently surfing at full height. There was a similar situation back in September, when Mikel Merino was handed a start against Manchester City after scoring 4 times in 2 games for Spain, including a hat-trick against Turkey. Arteta doesn't hesitate to reward form. Ease has carried that form onto the international stage as well, recently scoring a stunning goal for England in a 2-0 win over Serbia in the World Cup qualifiers at Wembley. Though he can play on the left, it has always been clear that Arteta brought him to the Emirates to operate in midfield. And with Declan Rice and Martin Zubamendi near untouchable in the double pivot, the odds of Ease and Odegaard consistently starting together seem slim. That leaves Odegaard in an unfamiliar position. He needs minutes to rebuild sharpness, yet Arsenal's medical team won't rush him. The plan is likely to ease him back through short substitute appearances before restoring him to larger roles. But even once fully fit, Odegaard faces genuine competition, because Ease has shifted the landscape. His arrival has raised the team's ceiling, and his performances have earned him the right to keep his place. Before the dismantling of Tottenham, Ease had scored only twice for Arsenal, one against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup and another versus his former club Crystal Palace, a clever finish that sealed victory. Now with 5 goals across all competitions, he sits just 1 behind Odegaard's total from last season, when the captain made 45 appearances. Odegaard's 2023-24 numbers were outstanding: 11 goals, 12 assists, influence written across every competition. That is the standard he must match again if he wants to reclaim his spot, because Ease is hungry, confident, and eager to impress ahead of next summer's World Cup. Arteta will insist that Arsenal need both players at their best if they are to meet their ambitions in the months ahead. And with Kai Havertz also working his way back to full fitness, potentially slotting into midfield behind marquee striker Victor Gyökeres, the battle for places has never been fiercer at the Emirates. For Odegaard, the message is clear: he must rise to the challenge. His leadership and quality remain unquestioned, but he can no longer rely on reputation alone. If he embraces the competition and fights his way back into the side, his return could push Arsenal to even greater heights. And if the team has already reached this level without several key figures, the potential for what comes next may be even greater. Inside the club, staff members are quietly acknowledging that Arsenal are entering a new phase, one where no player, not even the captain, is immune to tactical evolution. Arteta has spent the past 2 seasons building a squad capable of sustaining pressure across multiple competitions, and the emergence of Ease is a sign that the manager's long-term planning is beginning to bear fruit. Depth is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. But with depth comes difficult decisions. Arteta has always valued balance in midfield, and the contrasting profiles of Odegaard and Ease force him to reconsider what type of midfield best suits the team's ambitions in Europe and the Premier League. The technical control and spatial awareness that Odegaard brings have defined Arsenal's identity under Arteta. Conversely, Ease's dynamism, physical presence, and unpredictable touches give Arsenal a new dimension, especially against teams that sit deep or defend aggressively in central areas. This internal shift has also caught the attention of analysts and former players. Several pundits have begun to question whether the captaincy should guarantee a place in the lineup, especially at a club with ambitions of challenging for the Champions League. Others argue that Odegaard's leadership is too valuable to sideline, pointing to the standards he sets in training and his influence over younger players. Those debates are already spilling into the media, and they will only intensify as the season progresses. There is also the tactical question of whether Arteta might eventually experiment with a system that accommodates both Ease and Odegaard, something he briefly attempted earlier in the season during the win over West Ham. But with Rice and Zubimendi forming an almost impenetrable midfield pairing, any reshuffle risks destabilizing the defensive structure that has made Arsenal one of the most resilient teams in the league. The manager has hinted that he is open to adjustments, but only if they enhance the team's overall cohesion. For Odegaard himself, the challenge is as much psychological as it is physical. He has worked hard to cultivate an image of calm authority, a leader who raises the level of those around him through clarity and consistency. Now he must show that he can adapt, compete, and respond to adversity. His teammates still speak of him with admiration, describing him as one of the most studious and detail-oriented players at London Coney. They believe that once he regains full rhythm, he will naturally reassert his influence. Yet even they acknowledge that the landscape has shifted. One senior player privately remarked that, "The team is different now, Ease has changed what we can do in the final third." That sentiment reflects not a lack of faith in Odegaard, but an understanding that Arsenal have evolved while he has been sidelined. For Arteta, the ideal scenario is straightforward: a fully fit Odegaard competing with a fully confident Ease, creating a level of internal competition that lifts the entire squad. The manager often speaks about the need for healthy tension among his players, pressure that keeps standards high without fracturing unity. The arrival of Victor Gyökeres, combined with the recovery of Havertz, only amplifies that dynamic. Arsenal's season will almost certainly hinge on these midfield decisions. With Champions League knockout matches approaching and the Premier League title race tightening, Arteta must decide not only who starts, but what kind of identity he wants his team to carry into the defining months of the campaign. The next few weeks will reveal whether Odegaard's return sparks a resurgence or a battle for relevance. If he manages to reclaim his place, it could serve as a reminder of why Arteta trusted him with the armband in the first place. If he struggles, it will underline how rapidly Arsenal are progressing, and how little room there is for sentiment at the highest level. Either way, the captain's response will shape not just his future, but the trajectory of a team that believes it is on the brink of something significant.